Hi Kale Colts, I hope you had a great first day. My little kindergartner and I just got home and we are tired, so I'm gonna record this, put on some comfy clothes, and maybe we'll just lie in the sunshine for a little bit. When we left off, Dorothy was on her way to the City of Emeralds to find the wizard to find her way back to Kansas, and we're gonna read half of Chapter 3. Chapter 3, How Dorothy Saved the Scarecrow. Although we're not gonna meet the Scarecrow today, that'll be next time. When Dorothy was left alone, she began to feel hungry, so she went to the cupboard and cut herself some bread, and she spread it with butter. She gave some to Toto, and taking a pail from the shelf, she carried it down to the little brook and filled it with clear, sparkling water. Toto ran over the trees and began to bark at the birds sitting in the tree. Dorothy went to get him and saw such delicious fruit hanging from the branches that she gathered some of it, and finding it was just what she wanted to help her out at breakfast. Then she went back to the house, and having helped herself and Toto to a good drink of cool water, she set about making ready for the journey. Dorothy had only one other dress, but it happened to be clean, and it was hanging on a peg beside her bed. It was gingham, that means little squares, with checks of white and blue, although the blue was somewhat faded with many washings, but it was still a pretty frock. The girl washed herself carefully and dressed in the clean gingham, and tied her pink sunbonnet on her head. She took a little basket and filled it with bread from the cupboard, laying a white cloth over the top, and she looked down at her feet and noticed how old and worn her shoes were. "Oh, they'll surely never do for such a long journey, Toto." Toto looked up at her face, and with his black little eyes, and he wagged his tail to show that he knew what she meant. At that moment, Dorothy saw lying on the table the silver shoes that had belonged to the Wicked Witch of the East. "I wonder if they'll fit me." "That would be just the thing to take a long walk in. They could not wear out." She took off her old leather shoes and tried on the silver ones, which fitted her as well as if they had been made for her. And finally she picked up her basket. "Come along, Toto. We'll go to the Emerald City and ask the Great Oz how to get back to Kansas again." She closed the door and locked it and put the key carefully in the pocket of her dress. And so, with Toto trotting along soberly behind her, she started on the journey. There were several roads nearby, but it did not take her long to find the one paved with yellow brick. Within a short time, she was walking briskly towards the Emerald City, her silver shoes tinkling merrily on the hard yellow-red roadbed. The sun shone bright and the birds sang sweet, and Dorothy did not feel nearly so bad as you think a little girl who had been suddenly whisked from her own country and set down in a strange land might be. She was surprised as she walked along to see how pretty the country was. There were neat little fences on the side and painted a dainty blue color, and beyond them were fields of grain and vegetables in abundance. Evidently, the Munchkins were good farmers and able to raise large crops. Once in a while, she'd pass a house, and the people came out to look at her and would bow low as she went by. For everyone knew that she was the one who destroyed the Wicked Witch and set them free of bondage. The house of the Munchkins were odd-looking dwellings. Each was round with a big dome on the roof, and all were painted blue, for in the country of the East, blue was the favorite color. And toward the evening, when Dorothy was tired with her long walk, she began to wonder where she should pass the night, and she came to a house that was a little bit larger than the rest. On the green lawn before it were many men and women dancing. 5 little fiddlers played as loudly as possible, and the people were laughing and singing, while a big table near was loaded with fruit and nuts and pies and cakes and many other good things to eat. The people greeted Dorothy kindly and invited her to supper to pass the night with them, for it was the home of one of the richest Munchkins in the land, and his friends were gathered with him to celebrate their freedom from the bondage of the Wicked Witch of the East. Dorothy ate a hearty supper and was waited upon by the rich Munchkin himself, whose name was Boq. She sat herself upon a chair and watched the people dance. And when Boq saw her silver shoes, he said, "You must be a great sorceress." "Why?" "Because you wear the silver shoes that have killed the Wicked Witch. Besides, you have white in your frock, and only witches and sorceresses can wear white." "My dress is blue and white checked," said Dorothy, smoothing it out. It's kind of how you wear that. Blue is the color of the Munchkins, and white is a witch color, so we know you are a friendly witch." Dorothy did not know what to say to this, for all the people seemed to think she was a witch, and she knew very well she was just an ordinary little girl who had come by chance on a strange cyclone. When she had tired of watching the dancing, Boq led her into the house, where he gave her a room with a pretty bed, and the sheets were made of blue cloth, and Dorothy slept soundly till morning, with Toto curled on the little blue rug beside her. She ate a hearty breakfast and watched a wee Munchkin baby who played with Toto and pulled his tail and crowed and laughed in a way that greatly amused Dorothy. Toto was a fine curiosity to all the people, for they had never seen a dog before. So, how far is it to the Emerald City? I do not know, said Boq gravely, for I've never been there. It's better for people to keep away from Oz unless they have business with him. But it is a long way to Emerald City, and it will take you many days. The country here is rich and pleasant, but you must pass through some rough and dangerous places before you reach the end of your journey. This worried Dorothy a little, but she knew that only the great Oz could help her get back to Kansas, and so she bravely resolved not to turn back. She bade her new friends goodbye and started again on the road of yellow brick. I'll see you next Wednesday. I hope you had a wonderful first day. Everybody get some good sleep tonight, and we'll see you at school tomorrow.